Welcome to the ICT&health Podcast with Lucien Engelen and Jessica Workham.
Welcome in yet another edition of our podcast for ICT and Health, recording at this very moment at the ICT and Health World Conference in Maastricht at the end of January 2026, where I'm very proud and honored to have one of my guests here, Amber, who will introduce herself in a minute, to share about not only her journey now and in the past, but particularly also going forward into the future. So Amber, could you please introduce yourself?
Thanks, Lucien, for having me. My home country.
That's it.
A wonderful event. Yeah. Amazing people. So thank you for introducing me to ICT and Health. I'm a British-Dutch entrepreneur. Accidentally, I'd say, set up one of the largest women's health apps globally, reached 150 million users, never took any venture capital, grew the company, and sold it ultimately to Philips.
And what was the name again?
Pregnancy Plus.
Pregnancy Plus.
But in every country it's a different name. So in Holland it's called Zwangerschapsplus.
Sure, yeah.
And now on a journey to give back to society. So I thought one more time. I can't sit still, basically.
It's a bit like Steve Jobs.
One more.
Just one more. So there's a couple of things in that. First of all, you said, I've created a very successful app with an exit to Philips, who's still very much engaged in it and took care of your baby, as you just mentioned during your keynote. And the other thing is that you said just one more time, and I want to give back to society. So maybe before we getting into that woods, how do you think that the future looks like in terms of health and healthcare, let's say 15 years from now? What do you think has changed?
The good and the bad. I think we're much more inclusive. We have more data. There's tons more insights in health. But ultimately, it's also very commercial. So the future of health is quite driven by money and incentives. This is the part I worry about, especially for the 80% of society that can't protect themselves at all times or don't have access. Because for the 5% of the wealthiest in our society, we have everything available. If you go to those beautiful trade shows, you'll see the Aura Ring and the watch tracker and menopause clothes and shampoo. I saw menopause shampoo yesterday advertised.
And they all work, and they're scientifically proven.
Yeah, there's cryogenic, and there's vitamins and minerals, but we forget sometimes that society, the 80% that are less literate or less educated, need it more than any.
Yeah. So, and within then, you focus on a particular group, not only, let's say, in the generic, let's say, branch women's health, particularly on pregnancy and everything that comes with it. The app that you created, why in the world did you create that?
The first one?
The first one, yeah.
Well, the honest answer?
Yes, please. Nobody's listening, so that's good. We're just amongst friends.
I was looking for an evergreen product and something that I could scale. Games was huge in the App Store, but I knew I could never compete there.
So this is 1990?
2008, July 2008, the App Store launched.
Oh yeah.
We launched our first product in January 2009.
Feels like an age ago.
We were one of the first apps ever on the store. So I found a list online of the most profitable desktop widgets. In the old days, you had widgets on your desktop.
Widgets, I'm that old. Yeah.
And number one was a weather app or weather widgets. Number two was Super Mario and Hangman and all those games.
Calculator widget.
And number 7 was a pregnancy app.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's an evergreen market. You can contribute back to society by educating. And I also felt it was less competitive. So that's why we started. My sister is a gynecologist.
Business-wise, the same decision, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is why we started in that branch and stayed there forever. However, with my new product, I've also pledged that we're going to prove our new technology in women's health because we're good at it, women's health. But if it works, our backend will be open source and available for cancer care, diabetes, mental health, because they all need some disruption of the current system.
Before we get a bit deeper into the your new endeavor, one of the things we ask in this podcast always is, what was the biggest challenge up until now? And how did you fix it? So if I would wake you up in the middle of the night, say, what was your biggest challenge in the things that you've done already? Or maybe even, well, let's take it a bit broader, also now, because you've learned a ton and of the first round, so to say. What's that biggest challenge for you? For you personally as well.
The biggest challenge.
And money is not the answer, by the way.
Sorry?
And money is not the answer, by the way.
No, money is definitely not the answer. It helps sometimes, but it also makes you a lot less creative.
It is.
The biggest challenge, I think, is to do the right thing. So to really rethink what's and that comes with passion. So you see something, you think that's not how we should be doing it. So what should we be doing? And the same, whether you exit your company, like should you be exiting to the US and all the jobs go there? That's a question you should ask yourself. Or
ethically by now, I would say.
Yeah. Do you add a subscription to your app and therefore make it exclusive for the top layer of society? Is it ethical to outsource all your development and don't have any jobs for the young people? So constantly make the hard decisions, I think, is the most difficult thing.
And how do you go about with that in terms of, well, how do you know at all? You say doing the right thing, but what's the right thing?
I agree. And I think what you think now is the right thing. Maybe in 10 years you look back, but you do your best, the best you can. Once you start doing this, the beauty is that people around you start to respond really well and they get really happy. They say,
so there's something here.
I think that drives you to do even more of the same.
Would you agree that there's not a metric for that? This is something that you wake up in the morning or whatever and they say, well, this feels right. It feels like this is the thing that I should be doing right now. Is that the thing combined with passion? Or is it more like, so I need signals, a bit almost like KPIs, to prove that this is the right thing?
I'm not sure. Probably the people you hang out with as well, they influence you.
Matters.
So there's a Dutch saying, or is it a saying? I don't know, my mom always said it.
Then it's a saying, if your mom says it.
You basically, like, behavior is infectious.
Yeah.
So be careful who you hang out with because it will rub off onto you. So I think selecting your friends, selecting the businesses you want to engage with, and then automatically you'll start making better choices. It's also much more fun to hang out with people that have less ego and more socially driven.
And then you came up, you said just one more time. Then you came up with, I want to give back. That's one. Second of all, I want to give back properly, as in, I want to fix tons of the things that are happening right now about things like security and availability and everything, and money aspect of it. So share a bit about your current endeavor. First of all, what's it all about? It's something about pregnancy for now, I think, as you just mentioned, but also what do you want to fix now?
I left Philips in 23. And I took a year out, and as a semi-retired tech entrepreneur, you end up in board roles and consultancy work. And
juries.
Sorry?
In juries.
Sometimes.
Let's ask Amber for a jury.
And I enjoyed that year, but I did feel I was missing something. I think also when you sell your company, you lose your team, and that team, I mean, we had such a great culture. So it's also almost your extended family, even though you shouldn't think of it that way. So it felt like a bit empty, maybe slightly depressed or lost, or and I couldn't sit still. So I slowly started to feel I wanted to do something again. I do think it was good I took some time off, because starting a company takes a lot of energy. So you need to have a buffer. Just like you can't run one marathon after the next, you need a break.
And I also think you need to detach.
Yeah, you need to detach. You need to reflect on your own mistakes and the things you did right or wrong. And then I read a book Van Rutger
read a book.
Bregman.
Yeah.
Yes, as you do.
Our dear Rutger,
Yes.
the guy that was famous for sitting at the WEF and say, hey, that's great that you all got here with your private jets and all the things, but nobody talks about taxes.
Exactly.
Dutch historian,
That
great
was it.
guy indeed. So, and that book. Yeah.
Moral ambition.
Yeah.
And he basically said the biggest waste of our generation is a waste of talent. Our cleverest minds, think of our mathematicians, straight from school, they go and work on TikTok feeds and Facebook algorithms and dopamine triggers, whilst they should be working on climate change and cancers and seeing if we can leave the world in a slightly better place. And then there were examples in the book about, for example, the abolition of the slave trade in England in 1780. That was a group of 10 people, of which 8 were entrepreneurs. So he said, if you combine the morals of an activist with the ambition of an entrepreneur, you can actually achieve quite something. So I've got limited talents. I'm good at mobile health, good at mobile applications in general. So I thought, what could I do that disrupts this market, that gives back, if I do one more, that is significant. So if you then look in the space, apps in women's health that are got the biggest reach are cycle trackers. Apps like Flow have 300,000 downloads a day.
A day?
A day. They have 70 monthly active users. Wow. 350 million women are on the platform every year, allegedly.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
And so I thought if we want to do anything, that is probably, it's a good reason to come back for women to an app. It's hard to make an app that you use for a few months and then forget about. Yeah. So this is something you keep on your phone for years. So we thought, let's find out if we can disrupt that market. They do an excellent job. Sure. But I think we can do better, 40-80%, because I don't believe subscriptions to log your health, to log your period, to track your period, or to educate yourself should sit behind a paywall. And when the more you look at that space, the more you see that venture capital is not doing any good for B2C, for consumer health apps. Sure, because ultimately, if you get hundreds of millions in funding, that needs to be earned back. And when you have a consumer...
It's an earning model then.
Yeah, you either sell the data or share data, you can charge subscriptions, or you advertise. Those are the three options you have. And neither is good for the end user.
So fast forward into where you are right now, what you're building, what's different at it, and give me a brief recap about what this is right now.
So
it's called 28X.
28X. 28 is the
why is that?
average day of your cycle, and X is the female
Sorry
chromosome.
for a man asking that.
It's not for everyone. It's a recognizable number.
Sure.
And I needed a name that I did not need translating in 100 countries. So 28 is a number, and X is a recognizable symbol for a chromosome. So we thought 28X. And hopefully my investors get 28X back their investment. Although I did ask them that if they have 3 or 4 times their investment back, if they could pledge to donate it to the foundation.
Which you're doing yourself as well.
Yes, so we can give it back to society.
Yeah. That's the give back part. Yeah. So
we built a women's health app. We educate 100 health topics from cervical cancers, period problems like endometriosis, PCOS, but also things like domestic violence, HPV vaccine, nutrition, sleep, sexual transmitted diseases. So it's a very broad range of health topics. 100 countries, 25 languages. And the beauty is we no longer use cloud service.
So, and those numbers are now. That's not
No, we haven't launched yet.
Sorry. Let's make sure. That's the ambition.
Yeah, so we picked up money in the summer. The Philips Foundation is our lead investor. Yeah. And we've got 40 philanthropic investors, amazing cap table. Majority is women as well, backing us, which made an effort to get women on the cap table. Women like to invest in property, not in tech. But I'm very proud they did. Yeah. And the last 6 months we've been building the product, and we're launching in the UK in next week. Then US, and then we scale to a lot of the European countries in 26, and then we go into the lower middle income countries in 27.
And one of the features, let's put it like, no, it's not a feature, but you said without cloud,
Yes,
There will be a lot of people say, well, that's not possible. It's 2026, Amber. There's a train that you missed.
Yeah,
Everything should be in the cloud, isn't it?
Yeah, fuck the cloud was our strategy for a while.
Beep.
Sorry.
No.
I mean, the cloud is brilliant. It's not great if you want to keep data private.
Yeah.
The reason why we did this was to protect women, to give them ultimately the power over their own data back. But also, if we want to scale to 100 million women in India, it's unaffordable if you do that on a cloud structure.
Yeah. Due to the numbers,
So everything is processed on device. We use something called on-device AI, so tiny language models rather than large language models, linked to a recommender engine, so it can't hallucinate. And the beauty there is that it's safe, it's low cost, and we can therefore give a new structure back. Yeah. You can still donate your data for research, for endometriosis research.
But that's a choice.
That's a choice.
And that's a transparent choice.
Yes, and you can select a few topics, and you can select where you want your data to be donated to.
Okay.
You can still back up to your own Google Drive or iCloud if you must. Yeah. You don't need to. You can also back up to your email.
But it's the user's choice.
It's your choice. We don't have a server. And we also sometimes ask users to donate their data to improve our algorithm.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's their choice, and we don't have cloud servers, so nobody can hack us, or there's no data leaks. Yeah. There's no lobbying because I simply don't have it. I can't see what they're watching or what they're looking at.
I'm thinking about how that is going to affect not only this targeted group, the women that will be using the app, but that's also going to get way bigger, isn't it?
It is, because I think the public doesn't know what's happening. They declare all their mental health issues to ChatGPT. Yeah. They ask Claude or any of the AIs how to get pregnant. In the future, AI will do our pre-recruitment. Who's going to get the job? The woman who declared on large language models she wants to get pregnant, or the one who isn't? Who will get the better health insurance? The guy who looked at articles on testicular cancer, or the one who didn't? So we need to protect
for sure,
the people there.
I always like to end on a high note. So give me the high note in terms of those are the issues that you're trying to solve, and I'm pretty sure that you will succeed again. What would be your call to action / advice to people who are in the innovation field now, and what would be your biggest learning from being an entrepreneur already for so long and having seen all of these things, been in the woods, been in the sand, been in the sea? What would be your advice?
You have to be sustainable. Ultimately, you have to make money in some way. So we will copy the Wikipedia model, where we ask 1% of the users to donate £10, which is enough to cover all our cost.
There's always money involved, but the difference for you is let's keep it sustainable, that it's being able to run for many years to come,
so for
as opposed to just figuring out the next exit.
Exactly, yes. And every entrepreneur should think of their sustainability, because ultimately that's how you keep a company going. Yeah. But ultimately, one day you'll be 80 years old and you'll look back on your life, and having made the right decisions and being proud of what you did is ultimately what's going to last. And I think every entrepreneur should bake that in. People have lost trust in governments, they've lost trust in media, they've lost trust in pharma. I think it will backfire. And don't exit your company if you can.
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons why it could be interesting to do, but particularly on this aspect, I can imagine that. So what a beautiful thought at 82 years of age, looking back.
Yeah, let's build companies that we want our children to inherit.
Yeah. And you will be your own judge. Amber, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.